Fire does not frighten humanity, it forges them. Defeat does not silence humanity, it teaches them how to roar louder. And when an empire that has crushed countless worlds dares to claim the Earth, it learns a truth no war algorithm can model. Humans fight hardest when they have already lost. Before we start, please like and subscribe, because this is one story you will not forget. The Chothari fleets arrived in silence. Their ships eclipsed the sun as they entered Earth's orbit, vast shadowy constructs of blackened metal and organic latticework. From below, the human cities gazed upward with awe and terror, watching streaks of flame descend from the heavens, the first wave of the invasion. For the Chothari, this was routine. They were the oldest predators of the stars, a collective hive-mind species that had stripped worlds bare across hundreds of systems. Resistance was inevitable, futile, predictable. On the command vessel, Kethvarn, war strategist Ilex observed the unfolding operation through the cool blue of tactical displays. They had studied human broadcasts for months prior. Fractured nations, petty conflicts, endless bickering. Weakness layered upon weakness. The Earth, Ilex believed, would fall in weeks. "Deploy pacification units," Ilex commanded, his voice a soft chittering through the ship's comm nodes. "Subdue them quickly. Minimize resource loss." "Yes," the hive replied within his mind. Compliance assured, victory assured. But what the Chothari never accounted for was not the strength of human weapons, nor their fractured alliances. It was something more primitive, more dangerous. It was will. The first engagements were slaughter. Chothari dropships fell like knives into cities: New York, Shanghai, Berlin, Sao Paulo. Humans fired missiles, jets scrambled, armored vehicles rolled from their bases. But against the living tanks of the Chothari, they were insects. Weapons melted into slag under energy fire. Streets burned as millions screamed. The strategist noted it all with cold detachment. "Resistance with intolerance, losses irrelevant, the species will submit." And yet, hours after New York fell, human resistance fighters crawled from the rubble. Entire skyscrapers had been pulverized, yet small bands of survivors, armed with nothing but stolen rifles and improvised explosives, ambushed Chothari patrols in alleys. They did not retreat into silence, they did not scatter. They fought harder. Ilex tilted his insectoid head, multifaceted eyes narrowing at the report. Unexpected. They know they cannot win. What compels such irrational expenditure of life? No answer came from the hive. The days stretched into weeks. London was ash. Tokyo lay in ruins. Washington, D.C. had been obliterated by an orbital strike, and still, humanity bled and clawed and bit. Ilex watched footage of a battle in what had once been Warsaw. A human child, no more than 12 by their biological reckoning, carried a Molotov cocktail through fire and smoke, sprinting past the broken body of her father. She hurled it into the carapace of a Chothari sentinel. Flames licked the alien war machine, and though she died moments later screaming in agony as plasma bolts consumed her, the sight unsettled Ilex. Not for the loss itself, but for the sound that followed. The sound of dozens of humans rising from the rubble, howling in rage, charging forward as though her sacrifice had ignited their souls. They did not retreat from the child's death. They were empowered by it. "Strategist," the hive whispered in Ilex's mind. "Our predictive models destabilize. Human resistance exceeds projections." Ilex pulsed frustration into the link. "Then revise projections. They are primitives. They must break." But deep within, a sliver of unease crawled into his thoughts. Because Ilex had seen many worlds burn. He had heard the cries of conquered species, begging for mercy, kneeling before the inevitable. Always, submission came when the cities fell. Always, the will to fight evaporated. But here, humanity did not break. The more their world crumbled, the stronger their resistance became. Why? Weeks became months. The Chothari advanced relentlessly, stripping away human defenses, glassing vast swathes of land into wastelands. Nuclear weapons were launched by desperate governments, only to be intercepted effortlessly. Yet humanity did not vanish. They burrowed underground. They hid in forests. They fought in the mountains. Guerrilla strikes became constant. Convoys disappeared into canyons. Supply depots were blown apart. Ilex began personally studying human communication networks, intercepting transmissions. He expected despair, pleas for surrender. What he found were voices carried over static, whispered in secret bands. Hold the line. Never give them silence. They will not break us. Each word was irrational, each word was impossible to model, and yet each word spread, like infection, like fire. The breaking point came at the siege of Rio. Chothari forces had surrounded the city for weeks, pounding it with orbital bombardment, choking off supplies. By all logic, the remaining humans should have starved, surrendered, or died. But when the Chothari breached the ruins, they found streets barricaded with corpses deliberately placed as obstacles. Children armed with kitchen knives stood beside veterans wielding rusted rifles. Bombs hidden in sewers consumed entire platoons. Ilex himself descended with an honor guard, walking through the shattered city. He expected to see fear in the eyes of the last defenders. What he saw instead was something alien: hatred, defiance, unyielding fire. A human commander, bloodied and missing an arm, glared at him as the Chothari advanced. "You can take the city," he spat in broken English, "but you will never own us." Ilex's mandibles clicked. "You are already dead." The man smiled with crimson teeth. "So are you." And then the explosives detonated. The blast consumed the square, annihilating human and Chothari alike. That night, Ilex sat alone in the command chamber, listening to silence. The hive whispered reassurance. The resistance is unsustainable. They will collapse. They always collapse. But Ilex knew better. He had felt it. He had seen it in the commander's eyes. Humans did not fight to live. They fought because it was right. They fought for one another. They fought even knowing death was certain. This was not weakness. This was their weapon. And for the first time in centuries, Ilex felt something unfamiliar: fear. Years passed. Earth was a grave, continents burned, oceans boiled, billions were gone, and yet humanity still resisted. Not in cities, not in armies, but in whispers, in ambushes, in acts of defiance so small they defied comprehension. Ilex could no longer calculate victory. Every drone destroyed spawned 2 more ambushes. Every execution only fueled further hatred. He recorded one final transmission to the Hive Collective. Humanity cannot be broken. Conquest is impossible. They are a fire that consumes itself, yet never extinguishes. For every city we destroy, they rise sharper. For every life we take, their will deepens. The humans are beyond defeat. And that was the truth the galaxy would one day learn in terror. Humanity does not win by surviving. Humanity wins by never staying silent. If you felt that fire in your chest, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from, because the story of humanity is just beginning.